Hey, what's going on, guys? It's your boy Nirmod. I'm officially doing a post-commentary for you guys today over Battlefield 3. Unfortunately, this is not going to be a Call of Duty video for you Call of Duty fans out there, but if you, stay tuned, there will be some coming this weekend and probably tonight. But with that said, we're going to jump into the main gist of it, and, I'm going to kind of go over the weapon and map layout, and then I'm going to jump into just something that was kind of brought up and brought to my attention, so I thought I'd cover it, and overall, I think it'll be something that a lot of you lower-leveled players out there will hopefully enjoy, and maybe it'll inspire you to rejoin the battlefield, or maybe just play different playlists that are maybe a little bit better for your overall stats or your total level system. So with that said, we're going to jump into the main gist of it. I'm going to start off with my weapon. So I'll be using the MTAR-21 with a red dot, a flash suppressor, and a grip. Again, I've talked about why I use a grip on the MTAR. I'm usually not a person to use a grip. I really despise it currently. I mean, until maybe later on if they do something with it again that, I don't know, makes it more effective or adds this certain ability to, kind of be like how it was, a year ago when it was actually extremely amazing, and it was awesome. I miss the old grip. I miss using my silencer and grip set up on, like the M4A1 or something of that assortment, but whatever. I mean, I'm sure everyone remembers that if you have been playing Battlefield for about a year, and you probably remember a lot of the OG setups and all that good stuff. So overall, it's unfortunate that that patch had to happen back in April or something like that, but I think we all saw it coming, let's be honest. So with that said, I'm going to jump into the main gist of it. My pistol is going to be the MP443 suppressed, a small, a repair tool, and then I'll be using my squad perk known as cover. I do use cover a lot. I know you guys probably see it every time, and I'm currently always talking about it, but I can't stress it enough how effective it is. So if you again are unforsure or unaware of what it does exactly, I highly recommend going and doing some research, looking it up, or maybe just watching a previous commentary where I've discussed it. Obviously it'd be Battlefield 3 commentary, but with that said, the map is going to be scrap metal with 100% tickets. I think that's correct. I don't know. Conquest Domination has a weird setup, so sometimes they'll be like 250, 300, 150 or something like that. So I want to say it's either 100 or 200, but unfortunately I just can't remember. It's been such a long time since I've played with this particular game type. So with that said, it's going to be Conquest Domination, as I already stated for you guys. But with that said, again, I'm going to jump to my main topic, and hopefully you guys will enjoy. I'm going to try to get pretty in-depth on it, and overall it should be a good experience for both of us. With that said, I'm going to kind of tell you guys how I got level, or Colonel 100. I guess it's not really a level, so it'd be like level 145 if you add everything together. But Colonel 100 was definitely a giant pain in the ass, I'm going to be honest with you guys. I mean, I've been Colonel 100 for, I want to say 3 months now, so I've had it for quite some time, and I've had the ability to, go up and beyond the total amount of XP. I have quite a bit over, 25 million is kind of where you hit your Colonel 100 status at. And, I'm quite a bit ahead of that. So, with that said, I'm going to kind of tell you guys how I got it. I do realize that close quarters and a lot of things I'll be talking about here in this commentary didn't exactly come out on the road to 100. Or, I mean, they came out during, like, the process of it, but they didn't, it's not like I just got it over the summer when close quarters dropped. But I can tell you, to be honest, a lot of it came from close quarters. A good, I'd say 50-something levels by itself came from close quarters in a couple of months. So, overall, I mean, if you want to jump into the main gist of it, close quarters is great for XP. It's so frustrating and it pisses me off so much. But at the same expense, if you play smart, you're always moving. You don't have to worry about douchebags getting the knife on you. Usually, I mean, it's Battlefield 3. I think we've all gotten bullshit knife before. But with that said, I mean, honestly, close quarters is great for XP. It's nice and fast. It's the closest to Call of Duty that Battlefield can possibly get, and a lot of people don't like that. Believe me, I understand. Battlefield should be how Battlefield is, but at the same expense, it's about marketing. You want to bring in new players. People that hated Battlefield Day 1 just because it wasn't like Call of Duty, I mean, this gives them a new chance to actually play it, or at least have some kind of ability to actually enjoy playing the game, because Call of Duty people, I mean, believe me, I know I came from Call of Duty. Running around the map is not that fun, honestly, but when you play Battlefield a lot, and then you kind of like change your overall perspective upon the series, you kind of get this like feeling like, oh well, running isn't so bad. It's not as bad as people make it sound. I can actually, get a head start. I can kind of think of how I'm going to attack the base, and you get your mind going, and you're like, okay, well, if I blow up the wall here with this RPG, I can run inside, my squad can spawn behind me, we can get inside, do all the stuff we need to do, we could arm the crate, we can get position, set up a bomb. I mean, Battlefield is a great series for that. And it's something that Call of Duty doesn't have, and I don't think anyone can deny that. Call of Duty is not really a skill-based, that's not what I was going to say, a communication-based game. If you are one guy, you can probably go in a lobby and pull 50 and 5, no problem. I mean, honestly, I used to do it all the time. Obviously, with the stats I had in Call of Duty, that kind of shows it for itself. But with that said, at the same expense, I mean, there's just different games on the market that are a lot more based upon communication. Like, if you guys are Xbox players, you probably don't know what this is, but, trying to think of the name now. SOCOM Confrontation was probably the first SOCOM that I actually played on multiplayer, and I don't know where we're jumping into all this, but anyway, that was a lot more communication-based game. That was more about, you know, communication. If you didn't have communication, you were gonna get your ass raped, and it was bad. It was definitely worse than a spawn camp or spawn trap on Call of Duty. Call of Duty is a lot more, you know, lone wolf game. Battlefield's a lot more communication and, you know, just kind of luck, I guess you'd say. It's a little bit more of a middle. I wouldn't say it's based completely on communication, because 90% of people on the consoles don't have mics and don't use them. So, I mean, you can still do well, but at the same expense, it's just dependent upon different factors. But back to close quarters, as I kind of went off on a little rant there, or a little discussion, I guess we'll put it that way. But with that said, close quarters is great for XP. If you are interested in leveling up at maximum potential, definitely play close quarters. It will make your life so much easier when you're trying to hit Colonel 100. Or maybe you're trying to just get Colonel 50 so you can, you know, feel a little bit more accomplished, halfway done. Whatever you're trying to go for, that is what I would recommend. With that said, there are some things that definitely gave me a boost while playing close quarters, or maybe I was playing Grand Bazaar on the console side. Double XP events are huge. You should be participating in as many as you can. If you can participate in every one, you are going to get at least, if you were to add them all up so far, I probably got at least 20, no, that's a lie, I probably got more than that. I probably got probably 40 levels just off of double XP, just by itself. I mean, that's a ton, and double XP usually only lasts, what, a week, or, you know, the weekend or something. So in an average, I probably got a good 3 weeks of double XP events put in, but, you know, 3 weeks for, what, 40 levels, which would have taken you months to do if you just played vanilla maps, or if you don't have close quarters or whatever. It would have taken you months to do that, and I don't care how good you are. If you play vanilla maps, I don't care if you go 132 and 2. I mean, I've done that in a tank. It does not compete with close quarters XP. It's exponential how much you can get. I've dropped over 300,000 XP in one game of close quarters on double XP. That's a lot. That's a pretty crazy amount of XP. So with that said, I kind of wanted to jump, you know, back into the double XP events. Double XP events usually for premium members are every month. Okay, so you have a total of, I don't know, it depends on, the calendar ends on April for premium members, so we can be expecting maybe Battlefield to be coming out, the new one, who knows. But with that said, you know, it's crazy. Double XP means way more in Call of Duty, or Battlefield, than it ever did in Call of Duty, I swear. It didn't really make a difference in Call of Duty. I was like, yep, great, I spent less than one more game playing the game, you know, whatever. But in Battlefield, it just makes a huge difference. But as I was saying before, you have about, we'll say 9 of them from when Premium was brought into effect, but I don't think it's that many. But we'll say for the sake of argument that it is. With that said, it means you have 9 of them, so you have 9 whole months of double XP, and those usually last a week. The premium ones are usually a week. If you're non-premium, I don't know, DICE has been doing some weird things. They started out giving it to everybody for just the weekends for the non-premium guys, and then premium got the weekend plus an entire week. So unfortunately, I don't know what DICE is doing. I don't know if they realized that, you know, the non-premium guys were getting an advantage somehow. I don't know how 2 days competes to 9 or 7, but overall, DICE has a different formula than what would make actual logical sense to bring more players onto their servers, but I'm not their marketing manager, so I can't speak for them directly. With that said, you know, you kind of jump into it, and you just make so much XP. I highly recommend playing those. I highly recommend participating in as many as you can. If you're not premium and they do have them, definitely jump in there, play some Grand Bazaar, Operation Metro, Sin Crossing. Those are probably the best ones you want to play. You don't want to be playing stuff like Firestorm and all that, because they're too big. Your, you know, score per minute is probably anywhere between 2 to 500 probably, which that's not a really good score per minute. But if that's what yours is, that's fine. I'm not saying anything bad. I mean, those are more tactical maps, but if you want to level up and maximize XP, I highly recommend playing maps that are, you know, the ones I stated before, that are a lot more infantry based, so you're not getting bullshitted out of tanks as bad. Grand Bazaar does have a tank, but what are you going to do? Sin Crossing has an LAV, and Metro has nothing. So, pick which one you like the best. With that said, we're going to jump into Medal and Ribbons. Medal and Ribbons are the hugest thing. They probably gave me a majority of my XP total. I think obviously a lot of my points came from, you know, health packs and all that stuff. killing people. I have like, what do I have? I have like 50,000 kills right now, so that's a fairly good amount. I mean, that's enough to satisfy any guy that wants to maximize on kill death ratio or anything of that assortment. My kill death is not too bad in Battlefield. It's actually 3.13, so I know what I'm doing. I can work my way around the map. For everyone wondering, do I play the objective? I hope so. I like to jump in the tank and shoot the living hell out of their spawn. So in theory, I'm playing the objective, kind of. But with that said, there's just so much to Battlefield that's unbelievable. There's so much that people don't discuss, and I could talk about Battlefield all day, but I only have a selected amount of time to tell you guys about maxing out your Kernel 100. So with that said, we're gonna jump back into the main subject of it. But medal and ribbons are huge. When you unlock medals, they're usually anywhere between 2 to 10,000. A normal medal, like if you get the assault rifle one, that's gonna be 10 grand. But in that same aspect, if you get 100 kills with a weapon, you get 2,000 points. That's for every 100 kills. So with that said, in theory, if you're playing close quarters and you're using the maximum guns, the ones that you see a lot, and they're usually pretty cheap in close quarters, but whatever, people like to use them, so what are you gonna do? Tell them that they can't use them. But at the same expense, you have like the F2000, the AEK, the MTAR, the MP7, the M5K. Fortunately, that's all UMP. I mean, you got all the power weapons, the ones that excel in close quarter situations, and overall they're just a lot more fitted for that kind of diversity and overall that kind of setup. With that said, you really want to maximize on your weapon. You're not going to be wanting to use something like an M16, for example. I mean, you could get away with it. I'm not saying that you can't, but you want to use something that has rate of fire. Close quarters is all about rate of fire. The guy that has more rounds per minute going down range is usually going to beat your ass. Accuracy does matter in the same point, but at the same expense, when you're shooting 900 rounds a minute with an MP7, there's a good chance that the guy using the M16, even if he has accuracy and is hitting you in the power plot spots, it's pretty even. But I would say the guy with the MP7 is probably going to win because he has more rounds per minute by exceptionally slightly above what you have. But overall, I mean, that's just luck. It could be a power placement of your crosshairs and etc. But there's just so much in the Battlefield. Again, medal and ribbons are huge, so you should probably be focusing on those. If you're not, that's also how you unlock dog tags as well, if that's something you're interested in. There are a few that are pretty stupid, like the mortar one, considering that the mortars are extremely hard to do now. Not that you'd want to use those in close quarters for any means necessary, but with that said, there's a lot you guys need to take into effect, and you really need to maximize on your true potential, because as I stated before with the weapons, every 100 kills equals, 2,000 points. Well, if you are, a slayer, or you play close quarters and you just play the objective, and usually you'll get anywhere between 30 to 80 kills without a problem. There's just so much potential there to level up your kits and overall just unlock a ton of weapons. You can get a lot of attachments. If you work on your attachment list, let's say you start out with the MP7, you never used it before, you're probably going to get a couple, probably 10,000 points just from unlocking some of the optics and the grip and stuff like that. Actually, I don't think it has a grip, but overall there's just stuff that you can unlock for weapons that, increase your chances. I know 200 points is not something like, oh man, 200 points. Well, in theory that's 2 kills that you might not have gotten, but overall it does add to your true potential. It really does make a difference in your, your after effect and all that. So hopefully you guys enjoyed. I know this commentary was a little bit more sporadic than I wanted. I kind of went off in different departments and talked about other games, but overall I really wanted to emphasize on how much close quarters does impact your level, and your score per minute can really exceed 1,000. I have a couple of guys that are in like 2.7 thousand point or score per minute just because that's all they play is close quarters. They came from Call of Duty, so they're kind of used to that atmosphere, I guess you'd say. And overall, any of you Call of Duty guys, maybe you have Battlefield sitting on your shelf and it's getting a little dusty or something, maybe you can dust it off, put a little bit of close quarters in your game, and maybe Battlefield will be something that you're more interested in. But again, that's completely up to you, and if you don't like it, that's just a game maybe that will sit on the shelf for a little while. But other than that, guys, I'm going to sign out slightly early today because I got other videos for you guys to make. So with that said, I hope to see you guys in the next installment. This is going to be Nerd Mode On, signing off.